Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the live broadcast on the 19th of November. The year, of course, is still 2009. We're going to talk about gold, the precious metals, the barometer, the thermometer, and what they're telling us. And I want to draw everyone's attention to my website today in the Heads Up department, the article, or part of the article that Jim Willey wrote concerning the gold market breakdown. Now, for the record, I've been selling precious metals for 34 years. I used to be a trader, trading a lot of COMEX, good night, silver and gold contracts, and at my prime, I can tell you this, I was in a realm where only a fool would be, given the resources I had at the time, but I've traded, literally 100,000-ounce positions in both gold and silver, and I know what it's like to fight the house and try to bet against the stack market, but things are changing. The Gold Antitrust Action Committee is basically been chiseling away at the manipulation of the gold market. Well, now the biggest news in the world is a lot of the 400-ounce gold bars. Now, listen, this only relates to the 400-ounce gold bars that some of the ETFs, exchange-traded funds, central banks, and some of the major holdings of the world have in their possession. We're going to talk about this because it still is amazing to me that people that have never owned gold get on some of these forums like Tree of Liberty or Time Bomb. They are on $500 a month. I'm not making fun of that, but they have absolutely no basis to even discuss the stuff. Number one, they don't understand it historically. They don't understand it biblically, even those who claim to be Christians and only quote one scripture out of 419. And for the records, ladies and gentlemen, if you go on Bible Gateway, I looked it up before we went on the show, there are 419 references to gold. There are 442 references to love. Now, I want to share this with you because I think that there is a pietistic religious spirit that absolutely would fit into the category of basically unfaithful stewards. And here's what I'm going to say. God created the gold of Ophir, even in Havilah in Genesis chapter 2, the first mention of it. But it still is amazing to me that so many people just say, well, you can't eat gold. Well, evidently, God thought it was important enough that Jesus was sent into Egypt running for his life with gold, frankincense, and myrrh. But we'll get to that in a minute. Before I get into the realm of that, you should ask anybody that sells precious metals. I used to be in the rare coin market about the first 10 years of my metals experience, and I got tired of rare coins. For the record, I have sold some of the most expensive silver dollars in the history of coin collecting. Any of you familiar with the Amon Carter collection, you'll know what I'm talking about. I personally, owned and sold the 1879 CC and the 1893 S. Right now, those are $1 million coins. They weren't when I sold them or acquired them. But over the years, ladies and gentlemen, I saw the relative manipulation behind the scenes of the gold market. And as Shane Connor said, I think on Tree of Liberty, pay attention to the people that have been telling you it's going to go up. I used to have a guy called I call him the moron of Zurich, who used to send me every time gold would move up, it's going down, it's going down. Even now, we're seeing people absolutely calling the tops. But what they're failing to understand is the whole financial system is smoke and mirrors. And now the payday is coming, the day of reckoning. And Jim Willey at goldenjackass.com, just like goldenjackass.com, I put up that it's my recommendation that you subscribe to this publication immediately. Those of you that own gold, those of you that would like to get a good grasp on it. I don't believe in all the years outside of Jim Sinclair and probably Harry Schultz and Richard Russell that anybody's got this nailed down. And I can tell you this, when Jim Willey posted several months ago that he was met in a park in Costa Rica with a certain military assassin telling him if he didn't shut up, he'd be murdered, I knew then that, he had been given the message in certain areas not to go. It's amazing that those that risk nothing, never put their lives on the line, never help another person, because sometimes, and I'm not again putting anyone down, they're too broke to help anybody else, but they sure have loads and loads of opinion. And, the bulletin boards are festering pustules of that kind of, what would you say, lack of track record. And anybody that says buy gold, you're automatically, you're just in it to make money. Well, I got news for you. Even as talents were given in the parable of the 10 talents, the idea was return on investment. And the worst thing in the Lord's perspective was usury or interest. And everybody I talk to is groveling in the dirt, making 1 to 2% interest per year on their entire life savings, and fretting and melting down over buying gold and silver. Gold, for instance, moved up the other day 3.84%. Silver, I think, was up 5.8% in one day. Year to date, they're both up pretty close to 40%. So tell me this. Is your fear of losing something that is worthless to buy something that has been historically important, so important that nothing in the temple of the living God that was involved in his presence, i.e. the holiest of holy, could be anything but golden? And ladies and gentlemen, whether it's the Islamic faith that calls it the tears of Allah, or if it's the Hebrew and ancient tradition in Hebrew and Christianity that the gold is basically the manifestation of the Shekinah glory of God. I'd say this, if God says 419 times it's important, we better pay attention. Now I'm reading from Jim Willie, the Golden Jackass. The rise in gold presages by the way, thank you, Frank, for sending this to me. The rise in gold presages a currency collapse led by the U.S. dollar. Gold vaults at commodity exchanges in New York and especially London are being drained by delivery demands. Gold demand is skyrocketing as distrust for the U.S. dollar is broadening and revolt against the U.S. dollar is deepening. The quintessential financial war is between the United States and China, with the battlefield being the U.S. dollar and gold. The race over the $1,000 price level came in the face of mammoth shorting by the same usual suspects on Wall Street, which do so with paper but without the required collateral. The gold market is poised for a surprise upward move from a basic broken condition as the powers are losing control. It would be a joy to watch except for the extreme hardship due to come to the betrayed American people. Dollars, the biggest gold crime story of the century, might soon be coming to full light. Evidence is being accumulated that the Clinton administration, with Robert Rubin as U.S. Department Treasury Secretary, replaced perhaps the entire contents of Fort Knox gold with tungsten bars plated by gold. The salted gold bars are fastly becoming a global crime issue. Hong Kong discovered them, and now assayers are trying to authenticate most of the global gold held in banks. Entire nations are at risk. Before long, the U.S. government could be declared a rogue nation internationally. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just for the record, I can tell you I went on public broadcasting maybe 2 or 3 years ago telling you that a lot of people in the military, a lot of people in the intelligence community were telling me that this would be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and that a lot of the United States officials who presided over this would be brought before the world court in chains. People said, ha, you're always wrong, it never happened. Yet I got news for you right now. There's so much information out there, and again, the naysayers and the skeptics, can they place a call or place an email to the world's largest gold traders in either London or China? Can they get into the world's largest distributors of gold and ask the important questions? I've told you, it's not what I know, it's who I know. I can say yes, yes, yes to all those questions. There was a time when, due to some friends I had, I'll leave it at that, within 2 phone calls I could make a call to anybody in the world. Some people say it takes 6 calls, some people say it takes 5 calls. Now again, I'm only saying that to tell you that if you're listening to the people on these boards saying, well, gold's too high, or it's gone too high too fast, or, according to technical analysis, remember this, technical analysis was good in its time, but there comes a point when fundamentals so overrule the technical aspects, that means charts and graphs, ladies and gentlemen, as to become almost, how should we say this, obviously inefficient.